How cool is it? How cool is it? You know, you go to practice or you go to work and you see your kinfolk.
Yeah, I mean,
If
I
he
just
stops by. Yeah.
I was running my conditioning test. I look up and she over there watching me. So
Coach
little
Moore
stuff
had
like
the
that.
whole staff out there at 6 a.m. It's like,
Yeah, no, that's cool though. I mean, that's probably the most I've seen her in a while, just because she's been gone doing her other jobs and been at school. So having her back, I see her almost every day now.
So let's rewind the tape, because I thought, Will, growing up, that you were aspiring to be the athlete that Kayli Johnson was.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know you were aspiring to be the athlete that Kayli Johnson was. At least that's what I hear.
Yeah.
Is that right? Because the story I hear is that it was actually Kayli who was the best athlete in the Johnson household. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, she was the best in the household all the way until about high school. Then I think I got her.
Well, now some people tell me that's
Yeah,
still a debate.
She still got it though. She still got it in there. We just did some pull-ups the other day. She did about 10 of them things, and she ain't worked out in a minute. But
yeah, I know.
yeah, she's an athlete for sure.
So I mean, can you give us your credentials? Can you talk about your it's volleyball, it's track, and it's not just the field events. It's also shot put. Shot put was your main event, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my best event. So
I'm sure you give them all too, starting in high school.
yeah, so volleyball is my first love. It was the first sport I fell in love with. I did the whole nine of like traveling to, the travel to Indiana, Ohio, like all the travel ball. So my mom and I and Will, we used to be on the road in high school, but the opportunity just didn't really come where I wanted to see myself in college. So then, kind of at the same time, I started some private lessons with shot put, and it just kind of being what stuck. Like I started to get offers, and in my junior year of high school, after I really started those first 3 to 6 months of private lessons, I ended up going to indoor meet with our track team and threw and set the indoor state record. And then we were all just like, what did I just do? And so then school started to reach out for shot put, which I never saw myself doing something like that in college, like being a part of track and field, let alone throwing. So took all the visits and everything like that, and Michigan State is where it ended up being the best fit for me, and just kind of the stars aligned there. So great decision for me. I know we got Michigan fans on here, but Iowa State, it just ended up being what was best for me at the time. So I did that, and then in COVID, I was able to grad transfer with the eligibility for me redshirting my freshman year, and then having the COVID eligibility. And I was just kind of like doing visits online, like all Zoom. It was very interesting trying to find out what next school I was going to go to through Zoom. So Texas Tech ended up having the best presentation, the best package for me. So then I was just like, sight unseen, let's just do it. Like drive to the middle of Texas, in the middle of nowhere, Lubbock, Texas. And then we did it, and then that really ended up being the best thing for me for my athletic career. Was able to become a first-team All-American in shot put, and Big 12 champion, and I'm the school record holder for Texas Tech shot put. So it all happened within like a year and a half. It's still kind of like crazy to think about, like how in short of a time I was able to make such a far leap in my athletic career in college. So I still text with my coach from there. He's an old West Texas guy, but he just really loves throwing and really cares about his athletes. So I'm glad I made the move.
Yeah, so All-American, I mean, yeah, bro. I mean, that just happened for you.
Yeah.
It
really was like me than him. So it really was.
Yeah.
It was a really short time in between.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, she was the one that kind of set the standard for me as far as being an athlete, and showed me like what hard work was and being committed and what all that could do. So she definitely led the way.
So now I remember the stories. I shouldn't say I remember the stories. I actually saw you out there working out with Dion. Now, did he ever? I'm curious. Did you ever get out there and work out with your dad at all?
Yeah.
Now, before you say, I know of one workout. Now, do you know of any others? But I can think of one workout in the sand. So talk about any workout other than the sand workout.
Okay, there was one time at Grosse Pointe South in COVID, And my dad was like, yep, meet us at the field. And we did all these plyos and all this stuff, and I was done.
Oh, this is a sand workout?
No, this is at Grosse Pointe South.
Okay.
At the
Just
field.
on the turf.
On the turf.
On the turf.
Yeah.
And you were done that day?
He had us running down the field and lunges and squats.
Because he said you tried to work out with them in the sand and you couldn't handle that day either.
Yeah, I don't think I did either that day either.
That's when I knew I had it right there.
I'm trying to think. Growing up, though, nothing really specialized with my dad. I did all the private lessons and for my sport specifically, so I used to go to different coaches.
So I'm curious, his big sister, was there a time where you could really see, wow, I mean, he's not Little William. Like, he's really good. There had to be a moment where you could kind of see this is different.
It started in high school, like the glimpses of him playing multiple positions and stuff at Grosse Pointe South. I was like, okay, you wouldn't be doing that if you weren't, the man on the field, really. Kicking or returning the punts and the kicks and stuff, and playing quarterback for a little bit, right?
So I was like, quarterback.
Yeah. So that was really the first times, but really for me it was like college to see him transition into like a little man, pretty much. A little man. Now he's like a big man. So, yeah. I mean, within the first year, I would say when he got to Michigan, I think what part of it was him finding like a true family community within the team. Because sometimes when you get to college, it is sort of awkward in the transition. You're trying to figure it out. But when you have a place where you feel like you're really comfortable with the people that you're around, you can be yourself, and then the transition is easier, and like you can become yourself a little bit better and more. So I think after his freshman year, getting to see his bond with the other players and them coming to our house and stuff like that, I was able to see like, okay, these boys are together and like they're growing and they're feeding off each other and how they're growing into their manhood. So it was fun to see.
Yeah, I think it was evident to me before. It was your habits. I was talking to CBS today. You had grown man habits in high school. That's the difference. A lot of talented dudes, a lot of talented athletes, but a lot of talented athletes don't have the grown man habits that he has, that we see right now. So let's talk about Big Sis, man. I mean, you see her coming up in this. Your trajectory in this field has been rapid from intern with the Lions, and so then from there, I mean, it's been like Rutgers, Michigan State, Michigan, right?
Yeah.
like quick. And so now, before we talk about your job now, I do wonder, long term, what are your long term aspirations? Do you want to be in athletic administration? Do you want to stay in football? Like, where do you see your career goals, your career path going?
Yeah, I think when I first was graduating high school and college and trying to figure it out, I had always kind of had the goal of being in athletic administration. So figuring out what I was going to major in, what I was going to get my master's in, I was like, well, I want to be around sports in some capacity. And the most stable without like coaching, being a part of a coaching staff, is usually the admin part of a university, so in athletics. So then, I kind of was able to figure out what I liked about my different courses in grad school and what pieces I could take and what careers really were in athletics, because there was a lot that I didn't know. So I guess, I don't know, I think football especially, and then athletics is ever evolving. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know necessarily what the answer is in terms of a long-term goal, because there could be a position that we never thought right now could be created in 5 to 10 years. So within sports, football is great. I've always been around it. I'm comfortable with it. So if I was able to create a career around that, that'd be my number one goal. And
you get down in this role. So, all right. So, Will, I mean, give me your breakdown of Big Sis. Not first as an athlete, so talk about her as that, because you did that a little bit, but in this role as a recruiting coordinator, as an basically an athletic administrator on the football side of things, how you see her doing her thing.
I would say she's just a really hard worker. I mean, she's always the last person in the building. Even the coaches have been saying it to me, like, she's been a lifesaver since she's got here. She's done a lot of great things. So she's just a hard worker. She gets the job done. She does the things that people don't really want to do. She shows up. She's been handling her job well. I mean, the recruiting has been picking up ever since she's got there. So yeah, just she's been staying the course. She's been trusting the process, and Coach Moore blessed her with the opportunity to come work with us, and she's been killing it ever since she got there. So she's been doing great.
What I'm reminded of is sort of during the recruiting process, and you can kind of go back. I mean, recruiting is a relationship game, man, and so, you know, to have people in the recruiting department who not only can cultivate relationships, but come in with those relationships in hand already, and that's the other thing, because you guys are SMSB all day, right? Like, you got a network coming in the door, not just Southeast Michigan, but across the country.
Right.
That's currency. That's recruiting currency right there. That's the other piece that kind of jumps out at me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, I mean, she's coming in, but she's got all the connections coming in with her. So, I mean, that's something we needed to help without, because we got a lot of new coaches right now and a lot of changeover, or turnover. So having her come in and have those connections and have that Michigan, you know what I'm saying, being established in Michigan and having all the connections in Michigan is good for us just to get that. You know, we want to get Michigan guys in here, so having her is huge. Yeah,
so I said SMSB, and I shouldn't just be throwing out acronyms like that. Sound mind, sound body. And so I know Will's experience with SMSB. But what about yours, Kayli? I mean, I saw him at all the camps all the time, always competing. What are your memories of SMSB and your involvement with SMSB over the years as it was coming up?
Yeah, Curtis Blackwell, he's like an uncle to us, so he always gave me the opportunity to be around. So my biggest memory is those big satellite camps back in the day. We had them at like Wayne State, Dakota High School, and all of those. So I would help out with passing out T-shirts and reconciling money and collecting money and just kind of helping set things up and break things down. So I've always kind of been like in the operations role with Sound Mind, Sound Body and those big camps and involvement. And then there was one summer I actually interned. I was trying to find something to do, and Kurt said I can intern, and we did a lot of administrative duties in the office, and yeah, just being around and creating relationships and just being a face for people. It's just kind of family. It's always been family, so it's just been like, okay, well, going up to practice Sound Mind, Sound Body with my dad and brother, and more than likely when I get there, Kurt's gonna have me sit down at the table for check-in and get the money and cross off who's here and who's not. So.
Well, it was like when you got the job, it was like a celebration. Like, everyone's like, okay, yeah. It was the SMSB family. It was like everybody was hyped.
Yeah. It was
clear that if there were any reservations about Michigan, you know, changing of the guards, Ron got the job. It was like, okay, Ron, you cool. It was like, you good. Anybody had any questions about Ron, he's all right now because he hired Kayli. At least that's what it felt like. I don't know if you felt like that.
No, I felt that too, for sure. Yeah, from all the people in the city, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely came across that way. So I got a lot more that I want to get into about you guys' relationship, because we got to get into the ESPYs. I want to know who has the most style, because both of y'all were looking real good out there. But I want to know who kind of came up with how y'all looked out there. Was it